The Terran diplomatic vessel Zephyr sailed through the empty blackness of space. Its sleek hull caught distant starlight as it approached the massive structure ahead. The Galactic Council station hung against the backdrop of stars like a shining jewel, all gleaming metal and pulsing lights. Commander Jin Park stood tall on the bridge, his back straight despite the tension he felt. He reached up to tug at his uniform collar, which suddenly felt too tight. The weight of his responsibility pressed down on him. This mission would decide humanity's place among the stars. "Sir, we're almost at the coordinates," Lieutenant Yun Li said. Her fingers moved quickly across her control panel. The ship's engines hummed softly as they slowed. Jin walked to the main view screen, taking in the council station. "It's bigger than our reports suggested," he said quietly. "Yes, sir. Our long-range scans didn't do it justice. After centuries alone in the solar system, humans would finally meet the galactic community properly. The Zephyr carried Earth's finest minds, scientists who had made groundbreaking discoveries, diplomats skilled in making peace, and cultural experts who could share humanity's art and history." "Status report," Jin ordered, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "All systems normal. The diplomatic team is ready in the conference room." "We have clearance to dock in 30 minutes, Yun replied. Officer Du Yun looked up from his station. "Sir, I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the far side of the station. Should we investigate?" Jin frowned. "Maintain course. We don't want to appear suspicious by deviating now." The bridge crew worked smoothly, the product of years of training. Jin felt pride watching them. They represented the best of humanity, chosen to make this historic journey. Lieutenant Yun suddenly straightened in her chair. "Sir, multiple ships approaching from Sector 7. Energy signatures don't match anything in our database." Jin turned sharply. "Show me." The view screen changed to display 5 vessels moving in formation. Their design was angular and predatory, with forward sections that resembled fanged jaws. "Hail them," Jin ordered. "Standard greeting protocol." Communications Officer Han Kim nodded, fingers flying across his console. "Channel open, sir." Before Jin could speak, the bridge shook violently. Warning lights flashed as a high-pitched alarm blared. "We're hit," shouted Security Chief Minju. "Some kind of energy weapon. Shields damage." Jin grabbed the edge of his command station to stay upright. Return to defensive posture. "Han, keep trying to make contact." The ship rocked again as another blast struck. "Sir, incoming transmission," Han said, his face pale. The main screen flickered, revealing a reptilian face with amber eyes and scaled skin. Sharp teeth showed as it spoke. "Terran vessel, you have violated draconian space. Your species has been classified as dangerous. Prepare to be neutralized." Jin stepped forward, keeping his voice calm. "This is Commander Jin Park of the Earth, ship Zephyr. We're on a peaceful mission to the Galactic Council. We have proper clearance." The transmission cut without warning. The ship rocked violently as 3 more energy beams struck in rapid succession. "Hull breach on decks 4 through 7. Gun shouted over the alarms. "Emergency force fields failing." Jin felt a cold dread settle in his stomach. His ship was dying around him. "Han, send emergency transmission to Earth and the Council. Tell them we were attacked without provocation." Engineer Bohem's voice came through the intercom, strained and filled with static. "Commander, engine containment failing. We have minutes at most." Jin made his decision quickly. All hands to escape pods. Abandon ship. As the crew rushed to comply, Jin opened a ship-wide channel. "This is Commander Park. We are under attack by forces identifying themselves as draconian. All personnel, evacuate immediately. Get to the escape pods now." He turned to his bridge officers. "Go. That's an order." Dunn shook her head. "Sir, the weapons hit our escape pod bays first. They're all gone." Jin understood instantly. This was no random attack. The Draconians knew exactly where to hit to ensure no survivors. The ship shuddered again. Consoles exploded in showers of sparks. The lights flickered and dimmed as emergency power kicked in. "Sir, communications still open," Han called out. "I can get one last transmission to Earth." Jin nodded grimly. "Send everything we have. Sensor data, visuals, all of it." As Han worked frantically, Jin addressed his remaining crew. "It's been an honor serving with you all. Engine containment breach imminent." Bokum's voice shouted over the comm. Jin stood straight, facing the view screen showing the Draconian ships. He would not cower in his final moments. "Transmission sent," Han said quietly. Jin nodded. "Thank you." The Zephyr exploded in a brilliant flash that outshone the stars around it. The fireball expanded briefly before the vacuum of space snuffed it out, leaving only scattered debris where Earth's hope for peaceful contact had been. Millions of kilometers away, the flash was detected by Earth's Space Observation Network. The signal was automatically routed to multiple military and government facilities. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility few knew existed, Admiral Su Kim stood in a darkened command center. Screens displayed the last transmission from the Zephyr sensor readings of the attack, images of the Draconian ships, and the final moments of the bridge crew. Beside her, General Ta Wu watched silently, his weathered face grim. "They didn't even give them a chance," Su said quietly. "A diplomatic vessel. Unarmed. With council clearance." "The Draconians called humans dangerous," Ta noted. "Why? We've barely left our solar system." Su's eyes hardened. Perhaps they saw what we could become. She turned to face the general. "The council did nothing to stop this. Either they approved it, or they're powerless against these Draconians." "What do we do now?" Tai asked. Su walked to a secure terminal and placed her palm on the scanner. After a moment, a hidden screen lit up with a classified file. "Hurricane Project. Now," she said, "we show them what dangerous really means." She entered her authorization code, then spoke clearly for the record. "This is Admiral Su Kim, authorization Sierra Kilo 937. Activate Hurricane Project. Priority Alpha. Around the world, in hidden facilities buried deep in mountains, beneath oceans, and within hollowed-out asteroids, systems began to wake. Engineers and military personnel who had trained for years received their activation codes." Su turned back to the screen showing the final moments of the Zephyr asterisk. "So much for peaceful first contact," she said quietly. "They wanted war. Now they'll learn what happens when you corner a species that survived its own violent evolution." In the darkness of Earth's shadow, massive doors slowly opened in the side of an unmarked asteroid. Inside, technicians prepared the most advanced warship humanity had ever built. The Hurricane-class battleship waited, its weapon systems unlike anything the galaxy had yet seen. Human war was coming to the stars. The massive asteroid called Sanctuary hung silently in space, orbiting far beyond Mars. From the outside, it looked like any other space rock, gray and pitted with craters. This was by design. No alien sensors would see anything unusual about it. Inside was a different story. The asteroid had been hollowed out over 20 years, turned into Earth's most secret military installation. Today, the inner walls of rock glowed with blue emergency lights as klaxons sounded throughout the base. Opening main bay doors, a voice announced over the speakers, "All personnel clear the launch area." The outer shell of the asteroid slowly split apart, pushed by powerful hydraulics. Stars became visible through the widening crack as the two halves of the false surface moved apart. Admiral Su Kim stood rigid, hands clasped behind her back. Beside her on the observation deck, Captain Mi Park shifted nervously. "Relax, Captain," Su said without looking over. "This is your moment." Mi nodded. "Yes, Admiral." But her eyes never left the massive shape being revealed as the asteroid opened wider. The ship hung in its cradle, held by enormous clamps. As the lights came up, both women stared at humanity's secret weapon. "She's beautiful," Mai whispered. The HMS Tempest gleamed in the hangar, its hull unlike any warship ever built on Earth. 2 kilometers long, with smooth flowing lines that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Its surface was a deep, shifting gray that seemed to change depending on how you looked at it. "Humanity's first true battleship," Sue replied. "And hopefully, our salvation." Mee tore her eyes away from the ship to look at the Admiral. "Have we received any word from the Galactic Council about the Zephyr?" Sue's expression hardened. Worse than no response. "They formally classified humans as a dangerous species requiring containment. The Draconians have been busy painting us as savages." May's jaw tightened. The Zephyr was unarmed. "Which is why you're not taking an unarmed ship." Sue handed May a data tablet. "The Hurricane class incorporates technologies we've kept hidden for decades. Gravity manipulation engines, adaptive shield matrices, and the singularity cannon." May's eyes widened as she scrolled through the specifications. The ship's power systems alone were beyond anything publicly known. The weapons, she could hardly believe what she was reading. "This isn't just a warship," she said quietly. "It's a statement." "Exactly," Sue replied, taking back the tablet. "Your orders are simple. Show the galaxy that humans aren't to be trifled with, while finding allies who'll listen to reason." Mai looked back at the enormous vessel. "Why me?" "Because you understand what we're fighting for," Sue said. "Not revenge. Survival." 3 hours later, May walked through the corridors of the Tempest now wearing the black and silver captain's uniform of Earth's Space Force. Crew members stood at attention as she passed. Many looked nervous, all looked determined. Mai entered her private quarters and sealed the door behind her. The room was sparse. A bed, a desk, a small sitting area. On the desk sat a framed photo of a smiling family. She picked it up gently. Her brother Jin had been the commander of the Zephyr. The ship had been his first command. His last message home had been full of hope about humanity's future among the stars. Mai set the photo down and opened a hidden compartment in her desk. Inside was a piece of metal, twisted and scorched. It had been recovered from the debris field where the Zephyr had died. The only physical piece of her brother ever found. A chime sounded. "Captain, we're ready for final launch preparations," her first officer's voice announced. Mee tucked the metal fragment into her pocket. "On my way." The bridge of the Tempest was unlike any naval vessel in history. Instead of rows of stations, crew members sat in circular pods, surrounded by holographic displays that showed their specific areas of responsibility. The captain's chair rose in the center, with clear lines of sight to all stations. Mai walked to her chair as the crew came to attention. "As you were," she said, settling into the command seat. "Status report." Her first officer, Commander Kudu, approached with a tablet. "All systems green, Captain. Crew at full readiness. Earth Command has cleared us for departure." Mai nodded. "Very good. Begin launch sequence." Around the bridge, crew members turned to their stations. Soft chimes and muted voices filled the air as they prepared to move the enormous vessel. "Engineering reports all power systems nominal," announced Chief Engineer Hai-1. Her hands danced over the engine control displays. "Gravity drives spinning up to operational levels. Weapons systems online and in standby mode," reported Weapons Officer Jun-Ho. "Shields at ready status. Navigation plotted and confirmed," added Navigation Officer Taiyun. "Jump drive charged and available." Mai took a deep breath. This was it. The moment when humanity would show the galaxy they would not be easy prey. "Release docking clamps," she ordered. With a series of heavy thuds that vibrated through the hull, the massive clamps withdrew, leaving the Tempest floating free in the hollow heart of the asteroid. "Maneuvering thrusters only. Take us out, Lieutenant Ta." The huge ship inched forward, guided by precision, bursts from hundreds of small thrusters placed throughout its hull. On the main view screen, the open doors of the asteroid grew larger. "We're clear of the bay, Captain," Tay reported as the stars filled their view. "Awaiting your command." Mai leaned forward slightly. "Engage main gravity drive. Set course for the edge of draconian space." The ship hummed as its revolutionary engines activated. Unlike traditional fusion drives, the gravity engines created controlled distortions in spacetime itself, pulling the ship forward without visible exhaust. "Message from Earth Command, Captain," Communications Officer Sun Ji announced. "Admiral Kim wishes us good hunting." May nodded. "Send our thanks. Then activate stealth systems. I want us invisible to any alien sensors until we choose to be seen." "Aye, Captain." Stealth field engaging. The outer hull of the Tempest seemed to shimmer, then darkened further until it appeared to bend light around it. Mai looked around at her crew, the best minds Earth had to offer. Scientists, soldiers, tacticians, all chosen for this mission. Many had lost friends or family on the Zephyr *. "I know what's at stake for each of you," she said, her voice carrying across the bridge. "The aliens who attacked us thought humans were easy prey. They called us dangerous without knowing what that word truly means." She stood, facing her crew. "We carry the hopes of our entire species. We are not seeking war, but we will not accept extinction. The Tempest is more than a ship. It's humanity's declaration that we will not disappear quietly." Mai returned to her chair. "Jump drive charged, Captain," reported Navigation Officer Taiyun. Mai settled into the command chair, her brother's twisted metal fragment a weight in her pocket. "Take us to the edge of draconian space, Lieutenant." It's time they learned what a hurricane truly is. The space around the Tempest seemed to fold inward, stars stretching into lines as the ship slipped into the jump point. In an instant, the vessel vanished from Earth's solar system, leaving no trace it had ever been there. The hunt had begun. The draconian outpost hung in space near Proxima Centauri, a massive structure of metal and stone. Shaped like a flattened disk with spikes jutting outward, it rotated slowly, its weapons systems scanning the darkness of space. The station housed 500 draconian soldiers and served as their forward base for monitoring the human solar system. Commander Grek stood on the command deck, his scaled skin gleaming under the red lights. He was proud of his posting. After the successful neutralization of the human diplomatic vessel, he had been rewarded with this command. The humans had been properly put in their place before they could spread their chaotic influence to the Council. "Status report," he ordered, his voice a low hiss. "All systems normal, Commander," replied his second-in-command. "Long-range scanners show no activity beyond normal merchant traffic." Grek nodded, satisfied. The Draconians had ruled this sector for centuries. No one challenged them, especially not primitive species like the humans. "Commander," called the sensor operator suddenly. "Energy spike detected." "Source?" Grek demanded, turning sharply. "Unknown. It's not matching any known." The operator never finished his sentence. The space near the station twisted, folding inward upon itself. From the distortion emerged a ship unlike anything the Draconians had ever seen. The vessel was enormous, easily dwarfing their station. Its dark hull seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it. No engine glow was visible, yet it moved with precision, sliding into position directly across from the station's main weapon array. "Battle stations," Grek shouted. "All weapons target that vessel. Communications, identify the intruder." The alarm klaxons wailed throughout the station as Draconian crew raced to their posts. Weapon systems powered up, targeting the unknown ship. "Sir, they're deploying some kind of shield technology," the sensor operator reported, his voice shaking. "It's like nothing I've seen before. The energy readings are impossible." "Fire all weapons," Grek ordered. Energy beams lanced out from the station, striking the shields of the mysterious vessel. The shields flickered with blue light, but showed no signs of weakening. "Our weapons are having no effect," the tactical officer reported. "The shields appear to be absorbing the energy somehow." Greg's mandibles clicked in agitation. "Identify them. Now." "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we're being scanned. They're mapping our entire defensive grid." Aboard the Tempest Captain Meepark stood calmly on the bridge, watching the Draconian station on the main view screen. Around her, the crew worked with quiet efficiency, unfazed by the enemy fire splashing harmlessly against their shields. "Their weapons are at full power, Captain," reported Defensive Systems Officer Sujin. "Our gravity shields are holding at 98%. May nodded. "As expected. Have we completed our scan of their weapon systems?" "Yes, Captain," Sensor Officer Dag Kim confirmed. "We have the location of their main weapon array and power core." May turned to Weapons Officer Junli. "Target weapon systems only. We're making a point, not starting a massacre." Jun nodded, his fingers dancing over his console. Singularity cannon charged at minimum power, targeting their main weapon array now. May took a deep breath. This would be the first time the Singularity cannon was used against an actual target. The weapon was theoretical until the Hurricane Project made it real, a device that created a controlled temporary gravitational anomaly that could tear apart matter at the subatomic level. "Fire," she ordered. At the bow of the Tempest panels slid open, revealing a circular aperture. For a moment, the space in front of the opening seemed to bend, light curving around an invisible point. Then a sphere of distorted space-time erupted from the ship, speeding toward the Draconian station. The sphere struck the station's shields and seemed to pass through them. Where it touched, energy barriers flickered and failed as the localized gravity well tore them apart. The sphere continued through to the station's main weapon array, which crumpled inward as if being crushed by an invisible hand. On the Draconian command deck, chaos erupted. Consoles exploded in showers of sparks as power surged and failed. "Weapons offline," shouted the tactical officer. "Main power failing." Greg staggered as the deck shuddered beneath him. What was that? What did they hit us with? "Unknown, sir," replied the science officer, staring at his readings in disbelief. It appeared to be some kind of controlled gravitational distortion. "Impossible," Greg hissed. "No species has such technology." "Sir," the communications officer interrupted. "They're hailing us." Greg straightened his uniform. On screen, the main display flickered to life, showing the human female in a black uniform with silver trim. Her face was calm, her eyes hard. "This is Captain Meepark of the Terran vessel Tempest *", she said, her voice cold. "You murdered our diplomatic mission without provocation. Consider this a demonstration of restraint. We could have destroyed your station entirely." Greg's inner eyelids flickered nervously, but he kept his voice steady. "Your species was designated dangerous by the Council. We acted under proper authority." May's expression didn't change. "And now you see why that designation might be accurate. But understand this, humanity wants peace, but we will not accept extinction. Remember the Tempest * when you consider your next move against Earth." The transmission cut. On the Draconian station, emergency systems were finally coming online, bathing the command deck in dim red light. "Sir, they're moving," reported the sensor operator. "They appear to be preparing to leave." "Launch fighters," Greg ordered. "Don't let them escape." A dozen Draconian fighters streamed from the station's hangars, sleek and deadly. They formed up and accelerated toward the human vessel. Aboard the Tempest Dag Kim reported. "They're scrambling fighters, Captain. 12 units, moving to intercept." May nodded. "As expected. Prepare for jump." "Captain," Communications Officer Lim No called out. "Our transmission was broadcast on all Draconian frequencies as ordered, But it seems it was picked up by other systems as well. The signal is spreading. Mai allowed herself a small smile. Good. Let the galaxy see. The Draconian fighters closed rapidly, weapons charging. Jump drive ready, Captain. Navigation Officer Tae-Yoon reported. Jump, Mai ordered. As the Draconian fighters opened fire, space around the Tempest folded once more. The massive battleship vanished, leaving the fighters shooting at empty space. On the station, Commander Grek stared at the spot where the human ship had been. His mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme stress in his species. What was that? His second-in-command asked quietly. Trouble, Grek replied. Send word to High Command immediately. The humans have technology we didn't anticipate. As the message was sent, Grek didn't realize that the Tempest's demonstration had been witnessed far beyond his station. The transmission had spread across subspace communication channels, reaching dozens of worlds. On a distant planet called Ardania, beings with crystalline skin and large compound eyes gathered around communication terminals, watching the human ship disable the Draconian station with a single shot. The Draconians called them dangerous, one Ardanian whispered. Perhaps, replied another, they finally met someone as dangerous as themselves. Throughout the galaxy, species that had been oppressed by draconian power for generations watched the footage with newfound hope. The myth of draconian invincibility had been shattered by a species most had never heard of before. And aboard the Tempest as the ship settled into normal space, far from Proxima Centauri, Captain Meepark issued new orders. Set course for the Ardanian system, she said. It's time to find some allies. The massive gas giant painted the darkness of space with swirls of amber and gold. Its rings stretched out like a glittering halo, providing the perfect hiding place for a ship that wished to remain unseen. The Tempest floated silently among the ice chunks and dust, its dark hull blending with the shadows. Captain Meepark stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind her back, as she studied the long-range sensor readings. The ship had been waiting here for 3 days, since sending out encoded transmissions on frequencies that Earth's scientists had determined might be used by species resisting draconian control. Movement detected, Captain. Sensor Officer Dag Kim announced. Small vessel approaching from Sector 4. Men nodded. Profile. Unknown design. About 1/5 our size. Minimal weapons signature. They're being careful, using the rings for cover. Wise. Nai said quietly. Keep our gravity shields at standby. Let's not appear threatening. The bridge crew worked with practiced precision. After their strike against the Draconian outpost, they had jumped to 7 different locations to throw off any pursuit before settling in this remote system. They're hailing us, Captain, Communications Officer Sun Kang reported. Put them through. The main view screen flickered to life. May found herself looking at a being unlike any she had seen before. Its skin was smooth and white, almost like porcelain, with a faint inner glow. Large, compound eyes dominated its face, reflecting light in rainbow patterns. It had no visible nose, and its mouth was a simple line. Terran vessel, the being said, its voice musical and clear. I am Ambassador 1 of the Ardani Collective. Your actions against the Draconians have interested us. Mai stepped forward, keeping her face composed despite her excitement at this first peaceful contact with an alien species. I am Captain Meepark of the Earth, ship Tempest *, she replied, giving a small bow. The Draconians attacked our diplomatic mission unprovoked. The alien's head tilted slightly. A familiar story. The Draconians have manipulated the Galactic Council for centuries, labeling any species with potential as dangerous and recommending isolation or containment. Mei's eyes narrowed. How many others? 7 species in the last millennium. The Ardani were among the first. One's compound eyes seemed to glitter with an inner light. We've built a resistance network. With your Hurricane-class battleship, we might finally have the edge needed to expose the draconian manipulations. Mai considered this carefully. You're suggesting an alliance. I'm suggesting a meeting, one replied. There are others who would like to meet the humans who dared to strike back at the Draconians. Mai turned to her first officer. Commander Q, your assessment. Commander Q stepped forward, studying the alien thoughtfully. It could be a trap, Captain, but the Ardani ship is no match for ours. I believe the risk is acceptable. Mai nodded. Ambassador 1, we would welcome such a meeting. Do you have a suggested location? Indeed. We have a hidden base in the Taurus Nebula. I can provide coordinates. 4 days later, the Tempest emerged from its jump point near a dense cloud of purple and blue gas. Stellar radiation made sensors unreliable here, an otherwise choice for a secret meeting. Detecting a station embedded in the nebula wall, Dag Kim reported. Primitive by our standards, but effectively hidden. Mai nodded. Take us in, Lieutenant Ta. Standard approach. The massive battleship moved smoothly through the colorful gases. As they approached, Mai could see the station was built into a large asteroid, with only small sections visible from the outside. We're being hailed, Sun Kang announced. Audio only. Terran vessel Tempest came Ambassador 1's voice. You are cleared to dock at Bay 3. Welcome to Haven Station. The docking procedure was tense. Mai had ordered a security team to stand ready, though she hoped it wouldn't be necessary. This was potentially humanity's first chance at allies in a hostile galaxy. As the airlock opened, Mai stood with Commander Q and a small honor guard. Ambassador 1 waited on the other side, accompanied by 2 other Ardani, and, to Mai's surprise, 3 completely different alien species. One appeared to be made of shifting blue gas contained within a transparent environmental suit. Another resembled an earth insect with chitinous armor and multiple limbs. The third was tall and slender with reflective scales covering its body. Captain Park, one said, may I present representatives of the Resistance. Mist Caller of the Moru, he indicated the gaseous being. General Bin of the Felon, the insectoid nodded. And Scholar Yal of the Shimra, the scaled being raised a 3-fingered hand. Mai bowed to each. I bring greetings from Earth. We have much to discuss. The meeting room inside the station was adapted to accommodate all species present. Mai noticed the chairs were of various designs, and the temperature and lighting could be adjusted in different sections of the room. We have watched your encounter with the Draconian outpost most carefully, General Bin said, mandibles clicking. Your weapon technology is unlike anything we have seen. Mai nodded. The singularity cannon is new. My scientists tell me it creates a localized gravity distortion that can pass through most shield technologies. Fascinating, said Scholar Yal, scales rippling with color. The Draconians have long held technological superiority over the rest of us. This changes things. What exactly is your resistance? Mai asked. And why hasn't the Council stepped in to stop Draconian aggression? The alien representatives exchanged looks before one answered. The Council itself has been compromised. The Draconians hold 3 of the 9 ruling seats. Others are intimidated or bribed into compliance. Mai frowned. And they've been systematically isolating species that might challenge them. Precisely, Mist Caller replied, its voice sounding like wind through leaves as it came through its translator. The pattern is always the same. A new species develops faster than light travel. They're invited to join the Council. If they show too much promise or independence, suddenly there's an incident. The species is labeled dangerous and contained. Mai thought of the Zephyr and her brother. And the Council simply accepts this. The Council only hears the Draconian version, said General Bin. Any who speak against them suffer accidents or disappear. Over the next 2 weeks, more representatives arrived at Haven Station. Mai learned about 6 different species, all victims of Draconian manipulation. Each had been developing in isolation, building small fleets and gathering intelligence, waiting for a chance to challenge Draconian dominance. The Tempest conference room became their planning center. Mai observed the unlikely alliance forming before her: the crystalline Ardani, the gaseous Moru, the insectoid Felon, the reflective Shimra, the plant-like Theri, and the amphibious Vol. "We have ships," said Admiral Zell of the Vol, her webbed hands spreading wide, "but none that can match draconian battlecruisers. And we have numbers," added Theri Commander Root, whose bark-like skin rustled when he moved. "But without coordination, we cannot hope to win." Mai studied the tactical displays showing the known positions of draconian fleets. "What we need is a decisive moment, a chance to expose draconian manipulation to the full council." "That may be impossible," Scholar Yal said. "The council meets in full session only once per standard year. The next meeting is 6 months away." General Bin stepped forward, his Chidnus armor gleaming under the lights. "Captain, we have received troubling intelligence. The Draconians are assembling their grand fleet. Reports suggest they mean to make an example of Earth." A cold silence fell over the room. May's expression hardened. "Then we don't have 6 months. What do you propose?" Ambassador 1 asked. May moved to the star map display and pointed to a specific location. "We make our stand where it matters most, at the council itself." Gasps and murmurs filled the room. "The council station is the most heavily defended location in the galaxy," Admiral Zell protested. "The Draconian Home Guard never leaves it unprotected." "Exactly," Mai said. "Which means all council members will be there, even if not in formal session. If we can bring evidence of draconian manipulation and show it to all council members simultaneously." "It would be suicide," General Bin said flatly. May turned to face the gathered representatives. "My orders were to find allies who would listen to reason. I found you. Now I'm asking if you'll stand with Earth against those who would declare us all too dangerous to exist." She looked at each alien face, so different from her own, yet united by a common enemy. "The Draconians call us dangerous," she continued. "Perhaps it's time we showed them why." One by one, the representatives nodded their agreement. A plan began to form, one that would either free the galaxy from draconian manipulation or end in spectacular failure. As the meeting broke up, Ambassador 1 approached Unai privately. "Your species is either very brave or very foolish, Captain Park." Mai smiled slightly. "Perhaps we're both. But tell me, Ambassador, what made the Draconians fear the Ardani enough to isolate you?" Juan's compound eyes reflected the light in prismatic patterns. "We developed a technology that could detect lies. Imagine how dangerous that would be to those who rule through deception." May nodded slowly. "Then perhaps that's exactly what we need to bring to the Council." The Galactic Council station hung in space like a gleaming jewel, shaped like a many-pointed star. Its central dome housed the chambers where representatives from 100 worlds gathered to govern the galaxy. Today, however, the space around it blazed with weapons fire. The Draconian Armada had arrived in force, hundreds of warships arranged in their traditional crescent formation. Their green energy beams cut through the darkness, striking at the much smaller Allied fleet. Inside the main council chamber, panic spread among the representatives as the station shook from nearby explosions. "What is happening?" demanded the Trilaxian counselor, her tentacles waving in agitation. "The Draconians claim they are defending us from dangerous species," replied the council leader, a tall being with silver skin. On the main view screen, they could see the battle unfolding. 6 different species fought alongside a single massive human vessel against the Draconian fleet. Aboard the Tempest Captain Mee Park gripped her command chair as the battleship shuddered under enemy fire. The bridge lights flickered briefly before stabilizing. "Direct hit to Section 12, reported Commander Kudu. Automatic repairs underway. Shields at 60%. Added damage control Officer Sun Chang. Their numbers are overwhelming us, Captain." Mai watched the tactical display, studying the Draconian formation. Their ships moved with practiced precision, focusing fire on the Tempest, while smaller vessels engaged their allies. The Ardani cruisers are taking heavy damage, called out Sensor Officer Da Kim. They can't hold much longer. May nodded grimly. Time to show them our final surprise. She opened a channel to all Allied ships. All vessels, prepare for Phase 2. Tactical jump system online. Plotted and ready. Navigation Officer Taeyun confirmed. His fingers danced across the controls, inputting the precise coordinates they had planned. Execute. The massive Hurricane-class battleship vanished from the heart of the battle and reappeared directly behind the Draconian flagship. The enormous vessel, 3 times the size of the Tempest had no rear shields active. All its power was directed forward toward the main battle. On the Draconian flagship's bridge, alarms blared as sensors detected the sudden appearance of the human vessel. Impossible, roared Grand Admiral Kraz. No ship can jump with such precision. Singularity cannon at full charge. Weapons Officer Jun Li announced aboard the Tempest Target locked on their main engines. Fire, Mai ordered. The bow of the Tempest glowed briefly before a sphere of distorted spacetime erupted from the ship. It struck the Draconian flagship's engines with devastating effect. The massive power cores imploded as the gravity weapon tore them apart at the subatomic level. The flagship's lights flickered and died, leaving the massive vessel drifting helplessly. All Allied ships, my broadcast, target the flagships of each battle group. Tactical data transmitting now. Across the battlefield, the smaller Allied vessels received precise targeting information. The Ardani, Moru, Felon, Shimra, Theri, and Vol ships changed tactics, focusing their fire on specific command ships within the Draconian fleet. Without central coordination, the Draconian crescent formation began to break apart. Individual captains acted independently, some pressing the attack while others fell back to defensive positions. As the battle raged, a small diplomatic shuttle slipped through the chaos toward the Council station. The shuttle bore no weapons and minimal shields, making it appear as a fleeing civilian vessel to Draconian sensors. Inside, Lieutenant Sun Kang sat nervously at the controls. Beside him, Ambassador 1 of the Ardani checked the small data crystal they carried. "Are you certain this will work?" Sun asked. One's compound eyes reflected the light of the battle outside. The Council must see the truth. Whether they act on it is another matter. The shuttle docked at an emergency bay on the lower levels of the station. One's diplomatic codes, unused for decades but still valid, gained them entry. They hurried through the corridors, passing panicked staff members who paid them little attention amid the crisis. Back in space, the Tempest continued its hit-and-run tactics. The ship would appear near a Draconian vessel, fire its devastating weapon, then jump away before the enemy could respond effectively. Shields at 40%. Sun Chang reported after a particularly close exchange. "We can't keep this up much longer, Captain." Min nodded. "We don't need to. We just need to hold until Sun and One reach the Council." Inside the Council chambers, the doors burst open. Ambassador 1 strode in, followed by Lieutenant Sun. The Council guards moved to intercept them but stopped when the Council leader raised a hand. "Ambassador 1 of the Ardani," the leader said in surprise. "You were declared dead 20 years ago." "A draconian lie," one replied, "like so many others." Grand Admiral Kraz entered from another door, his scaled face twisted with rage. "These creatures have attacked draconian forces without provocation. They must be destroyed." One stepped forward, holding up the data crystal. "Counselors, before you decide, you must see this evidence. Records from the Draconians' own databases, recovered by the humans during their first strike." The Council leader hesitated, then nodded. "Show us." The main chamber screen lit up with internal Draconian communications, plans for manipulating Council votes, orders for the assassination of representatives who opposed them, and most damning, systematic protocols for identifying and isolating species with technological potential. The chamber fell silent as the evidence continued to play. Even the sounds of battle outside seemed to fade. 3 hours later, the Draconian Grand Admiral stood before the Galactic Council, his forces in retreat, his own records exposing centuries of deception. "The evidence is irrefutable," announced the Council leader. "The Draconian Empire has systematically undermined potential member species for centuries. Such actions violate our most fundamental principles." Captain Meepark stood among the representatives of the formerly dangerous species, watching as the galaxy's power structure realigned before her eyes. The Draconian seats on the Council were declared vacant. Emergency messages were sent to isolated worlds, inviting them to send representatives. "This is unprecedented," whispered General Bin of the Felon, standing beside Mai. "The Council has never reversed a dangerous species designation before." "Today is a day of many firsts," Mai replied. Later, aboard the Tempest Mai received a quantum transmission from Earth. Admiral Su Kim's hologram appeared on the bridge, her usually stern face showing a rare smile. "The Council has formally invited Earth to join as a full member," she reported, "and they're particularly interested in our Hurricane-class technology." Mai looked around her bridge at the crew, humans working alongside their new alien allies. Ambassador 1 stood by the science station, discussing sensor technology with Da Kim. A felon engineer had helped repair damaged systems during the battle. A Moru specialist was improving their communication systems. "Tell them we'll be building more," she replied, "but not just as warships. The galaxy needs explorers and peacekeepers too." As the transmission ended, Mai walked to the viewport. The stars stretched out before them, countless worlds now open to humanity. "Captain," Commander Q approached. "The Council has requested we remain as an escort for their diplomatic missions to the isolated worlds." Mai nodded. "Set course for the Rigel system. I believe that's where the Nexeri have been contained for the past century." "Yes, Captain." As the Tempest prepared to jump, Mai thought of her brother Jin and the Zephyr. His mission of peace had ended in tragedy, but it had set in motion events that changed the galaxy. Perhaps that was a fitting memorial. The massive ship slipped into its jump point, vanishing in a flash of distorted spacetime. As the Tempest set course for Earth, carrying representatives from a dozen worlds, the stars seemed somehow brighter than before. The end.